Published in 1988, The Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie is one of the most controversial and significant novels of the late 20th century. Blending magical realism, post-colonial narrative, and theological inquiry, it explores themes of identity, migration, religious belief, and transformation. The novel's complexity and its controversial treatment of Islamic themes led to widespread protests and a fatwa issued by Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran, calling for Rushdie's death. This response sparked a global debate on freedom of speech, censorship, and the intersection of religion and literature. Plot overview. The novel opens dramatically. An Air India flight is hijacked and explodes over the English Channel. From the wreckage, two Indian expatriates living in Britain, Gibreel Farishta and Saladin Chamcha, miraculously fall to Earth and survive. Their survival is inexplicably supernatural. Gibreel is transformed into an angelic figure resembling the Archangel Gabriel, and Saladin mutates into a devilish, horned creature. This miraculous fall to Earth serves as both a literal and symbolic descent from the heavens, echoing Milton's Paradise Lost, and marks the beginning of their psychological and spiritual transformations. The novel is structured into multiple interweaving narratives, combining realistic depictions of immigrant life in Thatcher-era Britain with surreal dream sequences and metafictional episodes. Gibreel's dreams, in particular, serve as a portal into a series of allegorical stories that parallel religious history, including a controversial reimagining of the life of the Prophet Muhammad, here called Mahound, and a reference to the Satanic Verses, a disputed Islamic tradition in which the Prophet is said to have momentarily accepted verses from Satan. Characters and symbolism. Gibreel Farishta, a Bollywood superstar famous for playing Hindu gods, suffers a mental breakdown and spiritual crisis. His transformation into an angelic figure is both metaphysical and psychological, allowing Rushdie to explore issues of religious identity, schizophrenia, and divine inspiration. Gibreel's name is derived from Jibreel, the Arabic name for Gabriel, the Islamic angel of revelation. His storyline dramatizes a crisis of faith with Gibreel caught between godliness and madness. Saladin Chamcha, on the other hand, is a voice actor who prides himself on his anglicized persona. His transformation into a demonic creature reflects his internalized racism and alienation from his Indian heritage. He becomes a victim of police brutality, symbolic of the immigrant experience and systemic racism in Britain. Saladin's journey is ultimately one of reconciliation, both with his roots and his estranged father. The novel also features other significant characters such as Ally Cohn, a mountain climber and Gibreel's lover, who represents a more grounded human element amid the chaos, and Mishal and Mirza, Saladin's parents, who embody traditional Indian values and expectations. These characters, while secondary, provide emotional and cultural grounding for the novel's broader philosophical themes. 1. Religion and blasphemy. The most controversial aspect of the Satanic Verses is its engagement with Islamic history and scripture. The Satanic Verses themselves refer to an apocryphal story in which the Prophet Muhammad is said to have included and later retracted verses that allowed intercession to pagan goddesses. While many Muslim scholars reject this account as a fabrication, Rushdie's fictionalization of it within Gibreel's dreams enraged conservative religious communities. The character of Mahound, based on Muhammad, is portrayed in a complex, humanized light, neither as a prophet nor a villain, but as a political and spiritual leader grappling with moral and existential dilemmas. Rushdie's depiction was perceived by many Muslims as blasphemous, leading to global protests, book bans in several countries, and the infamous fatwa by Ayatollah Khomeini in 1989, which forced Rushdie into hiding for many years. However, Rushdie insists that the novel is not anti-Islamic, but a defense of pluralism and a critique of dogmatism. The novel does not mock Islam per se, but rather examines how religious belief can be manipulated for power and how myth and history interact in the collective imagination. 2. Migration and identity. At its core, The Satanic Verses is a novel about the immigrant experience. Both Gibreel and Saladin are Indian Muslims living in England, struggling with cultural hybridity, racism, and identity fragmentation. Rushdie explores the idea of translated men, immigrants who are transformed, often violently, by their dislocation. Saladin's demonic metamorphosis serves as a metaphor for his rejection by British society, while Gabriel's angelic form represents an impossible ideal of spiritual transcendence. The novel also critiques the assimilationist pressures placed on immigrants. Saladin wants to be fully British, but is constantly reminded of his otherness. Gabriel, who retains more of his Indian identity, is driven to madness. Through their opposing trajectories, Rushdie suggests that both assimilation and rejection come at a cost. Ahar 3. Language and storytelling. Rushdie's prose style in the Satanic verses is exuberant, rich in allusion, and playfully metafictional. The novel is deeply intertextual, drawing from the Quran, biblical stories, Hindu mythology, Shakespeare, Joyce, and modern cinema. The dream narratives within the novel are not just diversions. They are acts of storytelling that shape identity and destiny. Storytelling in the novel is portrayed as both redemptive and dangerous. The prophet Mahound in the novel's dream sequence is challenged by the poet Baal, who accuses him of suppressing imagination in favor of religious orthodoxy. This tension between sacred narrative and artistic freedom lies at the heart of the novel's conflict and reflects Rushdie's own position as a writer navigating cultural taboos. Style and structure. The novel's structure is non-linear and multi-layered, alternating between realist episodes and fantastical, often hallucinatory dream sequences. This magical realist approach allows Rushdie to move between historical allegory and contemporary politics with fluidity. The book often switches tone, from tragic to satirical, from lyrical to profane. This tonal instability reflects the instability of the world it describes, one of migration, hybridity, and spiritual confusion. Rushdie's language is characterized by its linguistic hybridity, mixing English with Hindi, Urdu Arabic, and other vernaculars. This linguistic strategy mirrors the cultural hybridity of the characters and underscores the novel's post-colonial ethos. Cultural and political impact. The Satanic verses became a flashpoint for debates about freedom of speech, religious sensitivity, and post-colonial identity, while the fatwa issued by Ayatollah Khomeini placed Rushdie in grave danger. It also transformed the novel from a literary work into a global political symbol. Bookstores were bombed, translators were attacked. Hitoshi Igarashi, the Japanese translator, was murdered in 1991, and public opinion around the world was polarized. In the West, Rushdie became a symbol of artistic freedom, while in parts of the Muslim world he was seen as a heretic. The controversy overshadowed the literary merits of the book for many years, but it also led to a renewed conversation about the role of literature in questioning power. Conclusion. The Satanic verses remains a profound and provocative work of fiction. Beneath the controversy lies a richly textured novel that grapples with some of the most urgent questions of modern life. The conflict between faith and doubt, the trauma of migration, the politics of language, and the power of narrative. Salman Rushdie's novel challenges readers to engage with ambiguity, to question inherited truths, and to embrace the complexity of the modern world. While it will always be remembered for the firestorm it ignited, the Satanic verses deserves recognition for its literary audacity, emotional depth, and philosophical ambition. It stands as a testament to the power of fiction to provoke, illuminate, and endure.